8 million souls, 32,000 streets, 5 boroughs connected by 3 rivers, all coming together to form a city unlike any other on Earth. But what if I told you that everything that makes New York iconic today, its skyline, its culture, its very heartbeat didn't even exist just a century ago? This is the story of how a small trading post built on a swamp in 1625 transformed into the most powerful metropolis on the planet. Welcome to NeoHistoricaAI, and today we explore the 400-year evolution of New York City. Long before the glitz of Wall Street or the majesty of the Empire State Building, this land was home to the Lenape people. For thousands of years, they thrived here, living in harmony with the forests, rivers, and coastline. Their world, however, was about to change forever. In 1609, an English explorer sailing for the Dutch East India Company, a man named Henry Hudson, arrived on these shores. He sailed up a great wide river that would one day bear his name, unknowingly planting the seed for what would become one of history's greatest cities. Following Hudson's voyage, the Dutch saw an opportunity. By 1625, they established a tiny settlement at the southern tip of Manhattan, Fort Amsterdam. Picture it, just a handful of wooden houses, a small fort for protection, and merchants bartering for beaver pelts. It was a humble, muddy outpost, but it was the beginning of something extraordinary. This was the birth of New Amsterdam. The colony began to grow, built on the Dutch ideals of commerce and tolerance. It attracted a diverse mix of people from all over Europe, creating a multicultural melting pot from its very inception. But the Dutch grip on this promising land wouldn't last. In 1664, 4 English frigates sailed into the harbor and demanded surrender. The Dutch governor, Peter Stuyvesant, wanted to fight, but the colonists, valuing their lives and livelihoods, refused. The colony was seized without a single shot fired and was renamed New York. In honor of the Duke of York, under English control, the city grew rapidly. Its port became a bustling hub for trade, shipping goods like flour, timber, and furs across the Atlantic. But while the English flag flew, the Dutch legacy remained embedded in the city's DNA, a spirit of trade, a degree of tolerance, and a multicultural fabric that still defines New York today. However, this era of growth has a dark side that is often overshadowed. By the 1740s, enslaved Africans made up nearly 20% of the city's population, their forced labor building the very foundations of its prosperity. This is a crucial, somber chapter in the city's story, reminding us that its glittering growth was built on both ambition and immense suffering. As the 18th century progressed, whispers of discontent grew into shouts of rebellion. New York found itself at the very heart of the American Revolution. Groups like the Sons of Liberty met in its taverns, protesting British taxes and organizing boycotts. The city was occupied by the British for 7 long years, becoming a battleground for freedom. After the war, a newly independent America needed a capital, and for a short time, New York City held that honor, in a moment that would change the course of history. George Washington was sworn in as the first president of the United States on the balcony of Federal Hall, right on Wall Street in 1789. But New York's destiny wasn't just political, it was commercial. The real game changer was the Erie Canal, completed in 1825. This engineering marvel connected the Great Lakes to the Atlantic Ocean via the Hudson River. Suddenly, New York was America's main gateway for both trade and, crucially, for people. The floodgates were about to open. The 19th century transformed New York into the immigrant city. From the 1800s onward, millions arrived, seeking refuge and opportunity. First came the Irish, fleeing the Great Famine, then the Germans, the Italians, the Eastern European Jews, and the Chinese. Each wave brought new energy, languages, and flavors, weaving themselves into the fabric of the city. They built vibrant neighborhoods that are still famous today. Little Italy, Chinatown, the Lower East Side. They shaped the city's cultural DNA, creating a metropolis defined by its diversity. But this new life was far from easy. For many, the American dream felt more like a nightmare. Overcrowded tenements, rampant disease, and crushing poverty plagued neighborhoods like the infamous 5 Points. Gangs ruled the streets, and survival was a daily struggle. Yet, out of this immense hardship emerged a city of incredible resilience, a city that refused to stop growing, dreaming, and reaching for something better. And then, in 1886, a powerful symbol of that dream rose from the harbor. A gift from France, the Statue of Liberty held her torch aloft, a beacon of hope greeting every newcomer who sailed into the harbor, promising a new beginning. New York began to soar. New York began to soar literally. A new era of ambition and engineering transformed the city's profile. The Brooklyn Bridge, a marvel of its time, stitched Manhattan to its growing neighbor. An intricate web of subway tunnels was dug beneath the streets, moving millions of people daily. And then came the skyscrapers. In a race to the heavens, titans of steel and stone, like the Chrysler Building and the Empire State Building, reshaped the skyline, creating the vertical wonderland we know today. New York became a symbol of modernity, progress, and limitless potential. But just as the city reached its peak, the world came crashing down. The Great Depression of the 1930s hit New York hard. Wall Street crashed, fortunes vanished overnight, and unemployment skyrocketed. Shantytowns, known as Hoovervilles, sprang up in Central Park. The city that symbolized endless wealth now symbolized devastating poverty. And yet even from those ashes, New York found the will to rebuild, emerging stronger and more determined than ever. After the turmoil of World War II, New York City stepped onto the global stage. It's becoming the unofficial capital of the world. It became the permanent home of the United Nations, a place where nations would come to debate the future of humanity. Wall Street became the undisputed command center of global finance. Broadway solidified its reputation as the world's premier stage for theater, and Madison Avenue dictated global trends in advertising. This wasn't a period without its struggles. The 1970s brought a fiscal crisis and a notorious crime wave that pushed the city to the brink of collapse. And on September 11, 2001, the city faced its darkest day, a tragedy that scarred its skyline and its soul. But in the face of each crisis, New York has proven its greatest strength: the incredible ability to rebuild, to reinvent, and to rise again, stronger than before. From a few wooden huts to towering glass skyscrapers, from 60 Dutch settlers to over 8 million dreamers from every corner of the globe, the story of New York is more than just the story of a city. It's a 400-year epic of survival, ambition, and endless reinvention. Because every street corner, every brick, and every dazzling light tells a story of human resilience. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you enjoyed this trip through time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories from the past brought back to life. I'm your host, and this is NeoHistoricaAI. We'll see you in the next one.